What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another page of the playbook. This is Nate coming at you guys with another offseason in the NFL. 32 off seasons in 32 days. Today's team, we're talking about the Cheeseheads. We're talking about the team up north. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers.
Before we get into today's video, guys, I just want to give a special shout out to today's sponsors, starting with Gold Fine and Bowles, Lawyers for the Injured. Personal injury, workers' compensation, those are their two things, but any sort of legal advice, they're the people to call. Give them a phone call, 309-673-5144. Tell them we sent you, okay? And I'd also like to shout out SeatGeek for sponsoring today's video as well. Use promo code PlaybookSports on their website to get $20 off your first purchase of $30 or more. Let's get back to the video.
Hand up moment here, Packers fans. Right here. I own this. I absolutely own this. I hated what you guys did last offseason. Absolutely hated it. I didn't see the vision. I didn't like any of the moves. Pretty much everything. Gambling on Jordan Love to be an effective starter, which we hadn't seen. Betting on the weapons in-house to continue to progress instead of taking someone in the first round like I wanted you guys to do, which you never do, obviously. I honestly didn't think the Packers were going to have a very good season. I pegged them to go like 7-10, roughly. And Jordan Love held out and threw for 4,200 yards, 32 passing touchdowns, and not only did he lead them to above 500, not only did he lead them to the playoffs, he led them to a impressive playoff victory in Dallas against the Cowboys, putting up 48 points against a very talented defense on their home turf. 48 points in a win, and then nearly pulled off an upset in San Francisco against the 49ers. Packers, I think you guys have yourselves another quarterback if you didn't already think that. Safe to say that he is the guy going forward. So what have the Packers done this offseason to try to continue that upward trajectory, to try to continue to ensure that Jordan Love can be that guy going forward? How are you helping him and the team in general? Let's talk about it. So first up, Packers, Packers fans, I'm interested to hear what you guys think about them firing defensive coordinator Joe Barry. I mean, he wasn't bad, right? Statistically, the Barry's defense, the Packers defense, 10th in points per game allowed, middle of the road, kind of 15-16 range in yards allowed a game. Statistically, they didn't seem very bad. I do know those statistics don't always tell the whole story, so maybe I'm just missing something here. Packers fans, let me know in the comments. Do you like that they fired Joe Barry? Because I'm curious. I honestly don't know. I didn't get a chance to watch every single Packers game last year. But just from the numbers, I think they had a pretty solid defense. So let me know what you guys think about that move down below. They did hire former Boston College head coach Jeff Hafley. I love that move. He's going to be the new defensive coordinator going forward. Like, think about it, right? You don't ever hear about Boston College doing anything in college football. In 2021, that defense ranked number 3 nationally in passing yards allowed in college. They gave up 173 passing yards a game and were top 30 nationally in total defense, red zone defense, first downs allowed, third down percentage, team passing efficiency, and defensive touchdowns. I mean, that's unbelievable. Out of Boston College, I couldn't name a single defender out of Boston College. So obviously he knows what he's doing. They also led the ACC in fewest penalties and fewest penalty yards, obviously. That's at Boston College. That's incredible. He had them bowl eligible 3 out of his 4 seasons as head coach in Boston freaking College. Unbelievable. I think he is going to be a head coach in the NFL in the not too distant future. So enjoy him this year, maybe next year, because after that he is gone. So I don't know much about Joe Barry, but I do know a good amount about Jeff Hafley, and I think that's a positive move personally when it comes to switching out defensive coordinators. Let's talk free agency. Moves made, players lost. We'll start with them. Offensive lineman John Runyon, was allowed to walk in free agency. Although last year I did notice that they played Sean Ryan, former third-round pick, a decent amount. So he was kind of rotating in with him. So my guess is the Packers were sort of auditioning him like, hey, are you going to be able to take over this role next year? And they must have liked what they seen because they let Runyon walk. They also, these moves kind of hurt Packers fans' feelings and their hearts. I get it. It's tough to see longtime star players leave. But David Bakhtiari was no longer that. All he was a $40 million cap hit for a guy we really haven't seen play football in, 2-3 seasons? He's just always hurt. Poor guy cannot stay on the field. He still hasn't signed with a team in free agency, which just goes to show that the injury concerns are legitimate. And had to cut him. It was just too much money. They also released running back Aaron Jones, another cap casualty fan favorite. But man, when you're up against the salary cap, that hard cap wall, and you cannot afford to pay a running back. Like, that's the first position we look, okay, where can we trim some fat? It's running back, and you're paying Aaron Jones a hefty amount of money. He had to go too. They also released middle linebacker Devondre Campbell, another vet that was simply making too much money to keep. Couldn't afford him. He had just, I think he was 2 years into a 5-year, $50 million contract. You just drafted Quay Walker. Obviously, as we get into the draft, you'll see they had plans on replacing him anyways. So I like that. And also a little pat myself on the back moment. Not too long ago, I did a fixing your franchise video on the Packers, and I said, you got to cut these guys. Bakhtiari, Aaron Jones, Devondre Campbell, all making too much money for what they bring to the table, and you're up against it. You got to get underneath the cap. So thanks for listening, Packers. Appreciate that. They also did not bring back Darnell Savage, making safety kind of an important position to fill. They do. They fill that with one of the big first-name guys, Xavier McKinney, safety. They signed him to a 4-year, $68 million. In Xavier McKinney, you are truly gambling on his health because he's played 4 seasons in the NFL. 2 of those seasons, he has played all 17 games and was fantastic. Very, very good safety when he's on the field. Those other 2 seasons, missed a ton of time. So 50% hit rate so far on him being healthy and not healthy. If he stays on the field, I love it. But this is a very risky move, especially because you gave him a 4 for 68 for a safety is a lot of money, especially one that has played 2 full seasons. So a little risky, but I like the player and I like the talent a lot. And then they brought in another kind of higher price guy. Packers went spending here. They brought in running back Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. 4 years, $48 million contract. Love the move. Josh Jacobs, when he is on the field, is one of the 3 or 4 best running backs in the entire NFL. Obviously, had fallen out of favor in Vegas, got hurt last year. And so injury concerns, sure, except before that in his entire NFL career, he'd only missed 3 games. So he's had 1 season where he's been injured. Otherwise, he hasn't missed any time at all. So when he's on the field, he's one of the best running backs in the league. Love that pickup as well. Those are really the only 2 free agent pickups I want to talk about. So they obviously filled the running back role for losing Aaron Jones, filled the safety role for losing Darnell Savage. So where did they go in the draft? Let's talk. First round of the NFL draft, I truly thought the Packers kind of reached on Jordan Morgan, offensive lineman out of Arizona. Currently slated on the depth chart to be the backup left tackle. I personally think he projects better at guard, but you really don't need a guard. You got Elton Jenkins on the left side, and I can't think of who the right guard is right now, but you got solid guard play already. Oh, Ryan, I just talked about him. So I like to think he'd be a better guard, but there's just no room for him there. So then you're betting on a former 7th rounder to continue to progress at left tackle. And if you were going to take a tackle, there were better tackle prospects. If you were going to take a guard, why would you not take Graham Barton in this spot? I love Graham Barton. He plays all 5 positions on the offensive line. He plays all 5 of them better than Jordan Morgan does. I really think the Packers panicked. I really think they wanted Terrion Arnold, and they got jumped. And then they're like, Jordan Morgan, I guess. I don't know. Felt like this was a reach. I did not love this pick. I had him more of an early day 2 kind of guy. Could have gotten better value for sure. However, I love their 2nd round pick, linebacker Edgerrin Cooper out of Texas A&M. He was number 1 linebacker in the class. I did a lot of scouting on the linebackers this year in the class. He was my number 1 guy. Loved his tape. Love his aggressive play style. He flies to the ball. His ability to spy shifty, faster quarterbacks is second to none. I reference his tape against LSU a ton from this past season, but he was all over the field, all over Jaden Daniels. He gave him no room, and it was very impressive to watch. He's got future leader of the defense just written all over him. And now you get to pair him up with Quay Walker, and there's your linebacking crew going forward. And again, you look at who made a run in the playoffs this past season. They had great linebacking cores. Obviously, Nick Bolton, Willie Gay, together for Kansas City. You've got the Niners duo in Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. Lions bringing in Jack Campbell. That's his name. Couldn't think of his name for a second there. And then the Ravens obviously had Patrick Queen and Roquan Smith. So you need good linebackers in the NFL, even though it's an undervalued position. I love Edgerrin Cooper. He will play day 1. That is a starter. I also really think that they got fantastic value in safety Javon Bullard with their other 2nd round pick. Could definitely argue that he was the best safety in the class. Definitely serious need for the Packers to continue to fill out the safety room, considering they lost Savage and their other starting safety, and then brought in Xavier McKinney. And now you've got him and Javon Bullard going forward. So I really do like that pick. And they got younger and more talented at the position. I also think that Michael Pratt in the 7th round was a sneaky good pick. I know it's a 7th round pick. Gross. Not pretty. Still, I think Michael Pratt was as good as Spencer Rattler as a prospect. And Spencer Rattler went in the 3rd round. Pratt has got career backup, 10 years to 12 years in the NFL, solid backup play, One day, maybe the highest paid backup in the NFL. You never know the way these contracts are going. I thought that was a sneaky good pick by them in the 7th round. And then I've got to stay. I'm going to keep mentioning this pick because I love the selection of Kalen King in the 7th round. I really like that pick. He showed us 2 seasons ago that he was one of the best DBs in college football. And then he had a rough season. And by rough season, I mean a terrible season. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick in this draft, and he played so bad that he fell to the 7th round. So who are you getting? Are you getting 2022 Kalen King, or are you going to get 2023 Kalen King? Honestly, if the Packers think that they have the right coaches in the building, they may be all in. Yeah, we're getting 2022 Kalen King, and this is going to be the steal of the draft. I like that pick. It's just hard to project it, right? So I do think that they got some value in Edgerrin Cooper and Javon Bullard, but I do not love the value of Jordan Morgan, and I think that they really missed on like their middle round picks. I did not like the Hopper pick in the 3rd round. I felt way too early for him. Same thing for Williams in the 4th round. Just so early on some of these guys. So I think they had a solid draft, not a spectacular draft. I'm giving them a C+ for the 2024 NFL draft grade. So overall this offseason, I like what the Packers are doing. They identified some overpaid veterans on their roster when they were up against the cap, and they said, sorry, we got to do the hard thing, cut guys that fans love, but they've got to go. I love that they did that. I think they actually improved, too, in those rooms. They let the safeties go. They improved in the safety room. They let the running back go. They improved in the running back room. They let Devondre Campbell walk. They improved in the linebacker room. I don't think there's much of a loss at offensive line with Bach leaving. He wasn't playing anyways, right? So who cares that he's gone? It's no different to how they were last year. I like what the Packers did this offseason. I'm giving them a B for their offseason grade in the 2024 NFL offseason. That's all I've got for you guys on the Green Bay Packers. Packers fans, let me know down below what you think about them getting rid of Barry at defensive coordinator and what you think about my draft evaluation for them. Maybe I'm wrong on Jordan Morgan. I just think if you're going with an interior guy, Graham Barton was better. And if you're going with a tackle, there were better tackle prospects. So that's all I've got for you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next 32 NFL offseasons in 32 days. See ya.